Hi, and welcome to Creative Pizzazz. This is Leslie. Today I'm going to show you a way to make a flower. This is using Wild Orchid Crafts Hydrangea Blossoms or Blooms, and these are the petals, and you get a packet of them, and they come just stacked up for you, and you're going to use these, and your result is going to be something like this. Here's one that this is the second one that I made, and it's got more layers, and I really like that. This is the first one that I made. It's got a really tight center, and it's only got 4 layers. I think it's much prettier with the 5 layers. Okay, so here's what we're going to end up doing today, and we'll go ahead and get started. You're going to need 4 petals. You're going to leave 2 of them completely whole. You're going to take one of them and you're going to cut off 1 petal, and you're going to keep that, and then on your final flower you're going to cut it in half and then reserve the half in your stash. Okay, so we're going to start by training these petals to curve so that they will create that tight bud like we like. The reason that I really like using these flower petals versus cardstock that I cut with a die, for example, Tim Holtz Tattered Flowers. I do have that one, and I do like making those flowers, but I cannot accomplish a rose very well with them, mainly because the cardstock doesn't want to bend, it doesn't want to roll. When it does, it gives me a, what do you call it? Crease. Good grief. A crease in the paper when I'm trying to roll it, and I just don't care for that look. I like it to be more natural looking. And so when I got these, I really love the paper that they were made with, and I took one and I was holding it in my fingers, and I was just doing like this, just rolling it in my fingers and thumbs, and I noticed that I was able to train it really easily to curve. And that was me just kind of feeling of the petals and just playing with it. And so what I did was I thought, okay, I'm going to try this. This goes back to the whole Grunge Rose creation that Tim Holtz did way back, and thousands of people have done since, using all sorts of dyes and using all sorts of papers. And because these are made with mulberry paper, the mulberry paper is really trainable. It wants to curve and do whatever you tell it to. Okay, so let's get started. We're going to take the 1 petal, and because they are made of mulberry paper, this paper really is just waiting for you to train it and do something with it. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our tweezers on this outside edge here, and we're just going to grab hold and we're going to roll toward the center. And that is all you have to do. And I'll let go and I'm going to roll it again, because this first one I do want to be a little bit tighter than the rest of them, because this is the bud center. So I'm going to take that and repeat that on the opposite side. Roll. I hold it with my finger and thumb so that I can come out and then take it and roll it a little bit more. And that's what we sort of end up with. This is the first time I've ever been able to make something that actually looks like a rose in the middle, and then you could have. And I'm going to take these and I'm going to coax it into a center, into a roll, and I'm going to glue it. So I'm just sort of rolling it up. And honestly, I want this end to be a little bit smaller than the top. So if I have to use my tweezers to get that accomplished, I'll do it. So I'm just kind of helping it roll in a little bit tighter. There we go. That's better. So I've got this a little bit tighter, and the top can be a little looser then. There we go. I think you can see that. Okay. All you need to do is just touch your glue gun to the edge. It doesn't take much glue at all to hold this. Give it a slight pinch, and there you go. There's your center. And then we're going to move on to the 2 petal. For the 2 petal, we're going to take it and we're going to roll this edge toward the center, and we're going to roll the opposite edge toward the center. And so we'll just take that and we'll give it a roll and give it a roll. Okay, I didn't go all the way like I did with the first. Now you're going to turn the petal around and you're going to go from the center toward the outer edges. Be careful when you're doing this so that you do not tear. Mulberry paper is pretty forgiving, and it will let you pull without tearing, but you don't want to tear these 2 petals separate, because then you have to deal with them separately. But it's not all lost if you do. And there you go. So the first thing that I'm going to do here is I'm going to connect these 2 together. And by doing that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the one that seems to be a little bit more curled. You see this one's more curled. And I'm going to tuck it, give it some curl, and tuck it inside of the other. Like that. I'm not going to make this very tight because, again, you have to put this one inside. Just like that. So I want to keep some room. And all I'm going to do now is add just a little bit of glue on the outer edges of the petals for this outside petal. Just like that. And it's just a touch of glue. It's not even enough to burn you. This glue gun is horrible about dripping. And I use that to my advantage because it stays on the tip, and I just use that little bit of glue that's on the tip and I just touch that to it. But you can see just in the time that I've been doing this video, there's like, I don't know, 3 or 4 little drops here on the stand that comes with it. I don't know. I don't get really frustrated by it. There we go. That one's ready. And then you would take this petal when we get started making our flower, and this one is going to go on the inside. Just like that. Okay. Now, your next petal is your 3 petal flower. Now you're going to take this one and you're going to do the same thing. You're going to curve the outer edges toward the center of each petal and give these a little bit of curve. This one on the outside doesn't have to have a lot of curve, just a little bit. I just take it and do a little bit of a curve. I don't even press it with my finger. This mulberry paper is it's just really trainable. You can do so much with it. And then you can flatten it back out as well, really easily. So again, I took this outer edge and I'm giving it pretty much a tight twist and pressing it with my finger a bit. But then for this part, all I want is just to tell it you need to go in a little bit, like that. Now we're going to take these, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put a little bit of glue here on the outside, and we're going to connect these. You want to connect them about, I guess that's about 1/4 of the way in, or maybe 1/4 of an inch, and maybe a little bit over 1/8 of an inch over the edge of the petal. And so I'm going to do like that, because you want this one to be a little tighter than your second one, but not quite as tight as what the next layer will be. And you know, I said a while ago that this is the first time that I've been able to make a rose using this sort of method, and it is. I never have been able to get it to look right, but I can do that now. And these are the only 3 that I've done. Yep. So I did one, didn't do enough layers, but it was okay. And then I did one that turned out great. So I'm hoping this one will, especially since I'm on camera. And so I always check it because, again, I'm not very experienced with this. And I put it in and just check everything to make sure that they're kind of going in the right direction. And we definitely are. That's good. So the next flower is this fourth layer here. This one. And it's not the outer layer. And what I'm going to do with it is I'm going to take, yeah, this is one we use. I'm going to take these and I'm going to give them just the slightest bit of a turn, just each one toward the center of the petal itself. This is because these are going to be connected together. I do want them to curve inward a little bit, but I don't need a lot of curve. Okay, that's it. Seriously, that's all. So now I'm going to put a little glue, and to tell you what I'm going to do, I'm going to be touching this layer together, and I'm only going to go just a little bit. Let me see if you can tell that. So here's what I have, and I'm just going to cross these over barely and connect each petal together. So we're just going to do that. Just a little glue. Another reason using so little glue helps is because if you get it on your finger, it doesn't burn at all. You pretty much don't even know it until you start taking your finger apart and you're like, oh, my fingers are glued to it. I hope this is giving contrast enough for you. The lighting is not great. I'm using this little digital camera that I have, but I will get it done for you. Okay, and there's the last one, just like that. And you can check that, and this one would sit in it just like that. So it's really coming together nicely. It's going to do exactly what we want it to do. So I'm pleased with that. And now I can work on my final outside. Let me look at the one that I really like. This one's okay, but I don't really care for it. Okay, this one is the final or outside layer that we're going to work on. And this is the one that I curl outward really well. So you can do this, like I said, with your finger. You just kind of hook it over your finger like that, and then I take this thumb and I just kind of press down and rub, and it does make it curl. I mean, you definitely get curl compared to how it was. But for those of you who don't want to do it that way, or you're not comfortable, you can take your tweezers and you can do that, or you can take a paintbrush and just kind of roll it around the edge of the paintbrush. So you can just take your paintbrush and just roll it and press, roll and press. And it's that pressing that actually makes the paper stay, because you're actually bending the fibers. And I've found that you can't bend too much, because even though that one looks like, wow, it's way bent too much, it will pull itself back up a little bit. So I'm just going to pull these just a little bit more. And one more time on this one. And there we go. And this is going to be my outside. I'm just going to connect it to the next one. So I'm just going to start. I'm not even going to connect the petals. I'm just going to start with a bit of glue. And I actually did put a substantial amount of glue in there. And I'm going to put my 4 petal first. Make sure that you alternate your petals, because that's the more natural looking way. I don't want it to touch my paper and mess up my paper. Normally I have a ceramic tile that I use as my glue board, but I've got 15 projects sitting on top of it that I've got to do. Okay, another dollop of glue, and now I'm going to take our 3 petal and I'm going to put it inside here. And I'm going to hold it with my fingers. Again, rotate so that you have your petals alternating. Hold that so it can glue. It's looking good. Look at that. I love it. So I'll put that one in. And now I forgot to take my 1 out, so I'm going to take that out. Take my 2 petals. Spiderweb are everywhere. And with your 2 petals, you're just going to alternate them. And stand that inside. And I do have a little bit of glue left in there. I think, yeah, it's still hot. So I can actually put this one down inside, and I'm going to put it in this way. Just like that. And then while your glue is still warm, you can, reposition your layers so that everybody is sitting like you want them. And I give it a puff for it to dry quickly so that it doesn't continue falling. And there you have it. There's your Wild Orchid Crafts rose that you make from the hydrangea blooms. And I love it, love it, love it. Add a leaf or skeleton leaves, and it's just gorgeous. I'm putting this on a pin for my mom, and I'll show you that project when I get through with it. If you want your petals curved, once your glue has finished drying, then all you have to do is take your petals and either use a paintbrush or your tweezers and just roll all your petals. Just start rolling. I want mine to look more like it's starting to open or just getting open, rather than being fully bloomed out. As you can see, if I do that here on each layer, this mulberry paper just allows you to get such beautiful curvature of your petals. It's just really high quality paper that's used on these flowers. And there you go. There's one that's more curved. And there's the 2. Thank you for stopping by.